For 3 days, according to the time on earth, Jesus sat in the depths of the planet that had been cursed. The fallen King, the perfect one, the matchless name, the Holy Son, was carried to be buried, his bones to be laid behind a stone in a rich man's grave. And the enemy raved, and the disciples wept in dismay. The universe held its breath in pain, for the one who had spoken its name had been buried under death's shame. For during that Good Friday storm, as Jesus hung, his body sprawled out upon wooden beams cut from trees, his lungs wheezing, tongue thirsting, head bleeding, heart pleading, for the Father had to turn his face away. For on the Son's human frame did the Father lay every wicked thought and deed's heavy weight, as he who had not ever sinned became sin, so that his blood could pay for the sin on the skin of every bearer of human skin. And as Jesus wept out his Father's name, how the angels must have readied their aim to strike down those who had placed blame and shame upon their King and cursed his name. But Jesus did not call forth their aid. No, the only name that came from his lips was that of his Father, the only just judge, always worthy of worship, the one to whom he had entrusted his flesh when he left heaven's threshold to be clothed in blood and in bone marrow. He placed himself in the glory he knew was to come in the hands of his Father, who knew the outcome, that Jesus' perfect spilt blood would enable anyone to come and become grafted into his kingdom. For the scripture says it pleased the Lord to crush him, for out of the agony of Jesus' soul, when the Father had to look away, the way was paved through which many could be saved. For the Father in his wisdom knew that Jesus' blood alone could suffice as the perfect sacrifice to satisfy the Father's wrath and unlock the fear of death. And so the agony of Jesus' soul gave birth unto joy, satisfied and whole, for the victory that came when he arose from the grave, the good news that now all could be clothed in his righteousness alone, and the sight of so many souls now able to approach his Father's throne. He had accomplished his Father's will, and now the agony that had ripped apart his body and his soul was the way for millions to enter into the inner courtroom of the Father's glorious holiness. Oh, the glory of the Father, reflected through the Son's shed blood and the fruit of the Spirit bearing witness to the ones who have been cleansed and washed by Jesus' blood, now standing in immense grace and standing in his presence. To Yahweh be the glory, dominion, and the power, both now and forever. Amen.
Amen.